I would like to begin by saying that I personally was not actually present for the first part of the story. I will be telling this part from a third-person perspective. But first, some background. We are all residents of Louisville, all in our 20s, and we are best friends. There's me, my boyfriend Byron, Jess and Nico who are married, and Kara. We love to spend our days together hanging out at Jess and Nico's house, smoking and watching movies and playing board games, and really just enjoying each other's company. We're all pretty open-minded people who believe in the paranormal and love the thrill of being scared. We are all also huge bundles of anxiety, as millennials trying to get their shit together often are. So we like to get outside of Louisville every once in a while, just to be closer to nature and to relax. Our favorite place to go is the Red River Gorge. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the area, Red River Gorge is an area popular with rock climbers, hikers, and campers in eastern Kentucky. It is a part of the Daniel Boone National Forest, and immediately near National Bridge State Park. It has dense forests and dozens of natural sandstone arches. The views there are absolutely breathtaking, and it's definitely one of my favorite places in the world. It's one of those places that make you feel so small and insignificant, in a peaceful way. Here's where I'll start the story. It began last summer when Jess, Nico, and Kara took a spur-of-the-moment trip to the gorge. They planned to make the 2-hour drive, and do a night hike on the Natural Bridge Trail, and drive back home. Slade is one of the darkest places in Kentucky, free from light pollution, so going to the top of Natural Bridge on a clear night gives you a gorgeous view of the Milky Way. And from what they described, it was a clear night. Until they had already started their hike, they all described feeling uneasy while walking the trail, like something was watching them. They also noticed that the sky seemed to have gone completely cloudy. A key part of the story is a noise that they kept hearing. It sounds like a human doing a bird call, almost like that 2-part whistle somebody would use to call their dog. But it was much, much louder, and it seemed to be coming from a different side of the trail each time. When they were almost to the top, the best place to stargaze, they saw a girl coming down. She was wearing a sundress and flip-flops and a headlamp. She didn't have a backpack, a water bottle, or any other people with her. Now, let me be clear. There is no way that this girl did this hike by herself, in the middle of the night with no source of hydration, wearing a dress and flip-flops. There are many steep inclines, and we always have to stop a few times to drink water and to catch our breath. The girl came down towards them and she stopped. The other strange detail about this encounter is that all 3 of their headlamps and flashlights were pointed directly at her, but she didn't squint or shield her eyes. It gets pitch black there at night and we use the bright lights to navigate. Jess said that she had attempted to greet her and ask her how she was, to try and make light of an awkward and creepy situation. She was also concerned that the girl might be lost in the woods and needed help. "Oh, I'm fine." From what they said, she had a robotic voice and strange, forced mannerisms. After answering them, she continued to walk down past them, stopped again for a moment, and then disappeared around the trail corner. At this point, everybody was creeped out. They kept climbing to the top, and once they got there, they tried to just calm down and look out at the stars. After a few minutes of stargazing, they decided to go back down. Everybody was feeling uneasy, and there are too many clouds to see anything anyway. While they are heading back down, Nico keeps catching eyes shine in the trees with his flashlight. They keep hearing rushing in the bushes and that whistling noise again. All these things could have been chalked up to wildlife, so no big deal. And that's when they see it. Nico sees it first. "What the hell is that?" Jess and Kara immediately turned with their flashlights and all of the lights hit it. They described it as a huge, lanky, bipedal creature that stood at least 9 feet tall. It was crouched down in a stalking position, but stood up to full height after being spotted by the whole group. It had shiny white skin, similar to a dolphin. Nobody could see any distinguishable facial features very well, but everybody seemed to think that it had 2 pit-like eyes. They all reported feeling frozen, and a powerful sense of absolute dread. Nico finally got all of them to run down the trail until they reached the parking lot, where they all heard crashing noises coming from the woods behind them. When they got into the car and started driving away, they were all shocked to see that the hike up and down had somehow taken them twice as long as it normally did, despite the fact that they had headed back down way sooner than usual, and also ran most of the way down. It was like they had lost chunks of time. They also noticed that the sky was completely clear again, not a cloud in sight, just like it was when they had first started the hike. Fast forward to this past Friday night, April 6, 2018. I texted Jess earlier that morning to see if she wanted to hang out after everybody got off work that evening. And she said that she did, and that she wanted to drive to Gorge to try and do a night hike and get some pizza at Miguel's, one of the only restaurants that seems to exist in Slade, but they had the most amazing pizza and breakfast. I agreed that that sounded great, and I told her she could come pick me up from my apartment when she got off of work. Byron was going to be working a little bit later than everybody else, and he decided to opt out. He said that he didn't want to hold us up, and he needed to be up early in the morning anyway. Jess and Nico picked me up from my house around 5:15. We headed over to Kari's house to meet her and hang out there for a little bit. She did have the biggest car, and she would be driving us all there. We all got in, stopped for cigarettes, waters, and snacks, and we were on our way to the Gorge. I absolutely adore road trips with my friends. We sing and talk and chain smoke all the way there. It's one of the most blissful feelings in this entire world. Everyone is happy to be in each other's company on a nice night, and ready to be out in nature. We arrive in Slade at around 8:15 p.m., and go straight to Miguel's to fill up on pizza before we head out on our hike. It's crowded as usual, but a little more so because it's spring break. And there are people from all walks of life, from families with young children to groups of 20-somethings like us, to older people who had made Slade their permanent home. I think it's important to say that we were all in very good moods. We were happy, stoned, stuffed with the world's best pizza, and in a beautiful place surrounded by people that were also happy. Everything felt very serene. We finished eating around 9 p.m. and piled back into the car. Kara starts driving towards the Natural Bridge Trail. Some of the roads are barricaded, due to some kind of road work that I'm assuming, so it takes us a little bit longer to get there. Now, in the car is where I start to feel a little wary. Nothing too serious, but something feels wrong in the back of my mind. I just try to ignore it until Jess and Kara start talking about how they feel scared as well. I do too. I just didn't want to be the one who said something and accidentally freaked everybody else out. I said, giggling. I'm trying pretty hard just to pass off my feelings as nervous jitters. Nico doesn't seem scared. He keeps telling us that it'll all be okay, and we agree. There are 4 of us, and it's unlikely anything bad will ever happen. We finally get to the parking lot. Kara turns off the engine, and we all start to take things out and put things in our backpacks to prepare everything for the hike. I am feeling more and more nervous by the second. Something feels wrong. I'm not scared at this point, but I do not feel like we should go into the woods. I have to say something. I kind of don't want to do this. This is the same trail that you guys saw that thing on, and I feel really weird right now. Everyone is silent, but Kara and Jess seem to feel the same way. Do you guys want to hike Chimney Top Rock instead? Jess suggests. Nico shrugs his shoulders. I kind of really wanted to do this one. I think we can do it and we'll feel better afterwards. Jess decided to take out her pendulum and her pendulum board to make the decision. For those of you who don't know, a pendulum board is kind of like a Ouija board. Jess is just a small piece of wood that says yes and no. She hangs her pendulum above the board and asks it a question. And the idea is that the pendulum will sway towards the correct answer. We're superstitious people, so when the pendulum quivers towards no, we decide to drive to Chimney Top Rock instead. Nico seems disappointed, but he's willing to compromise and do the different trail. As we're driving towards our new destination, we start to talk a little bit more about the creature that they had seen. Nothing too serious, just trying to make light conversation. As we're doing this, I hear a whistling noise. I didn't connect the dots at this point. Just remember I wasn't on the original trip. But I did know that I was all of a sudden terrified. I looked around to see if anybody else had heard what I heard. And I started asking, did you hear that? And what was that? When it happened again. This time it was louder. And this time my friends all froze. That's the noise. That's that fake bird call we heard that night. Kara said wide-eyed. We were all dead silent, staring straight ahead of us for a few seconds while Kara continued driving through the dark, windy forest road. And then, I shit you not, we heard it again. It was so loud. It was crystal clear and penetrating. It was literally so loud that it sounded like it was coming from inside of the car, and yet distant, like it was coming from the woods to our right. I have no explanation for how this whistle managed to defy logic, but I can tell you that we all had a meltdown. There were tears in our eyes. I started sinking lower and lower, trying to get as close to the floor of the back seat as possible. I could not put into words the feeling of absolute dread and hopelessness that whistle instilled in me. I would like to say that fight or flight kicked in, but it was worse. Because as soon as I heard that third whistle, I knew that I had no chance if whatever made that noise wanted me. I knew that it was smart. I knew that it wanted us to hear that noise. It was so intentional. And all I know is, it is not normal for a whistling sound to have the ability to make 4 grown adults cry and sob out of fear. We were all trembling for hours. I truly did not think that we were going to make it out of there. After that, we drove around in the woods a little bit more. Why? I have no idea. We all felt like we had to almost, and that's really scary to me. Despite feeling a fear so strong, we were all still willing to try to find more. It was a magnetic feeling, and one that I have no sane explanation for. Even now, sitting safely back in Louisville in my bed, I want to go back. I want to find out what it is. I want to interview the locals and look for clues. I have some theories, but none of them all match up together. So that's why I'm here. First of all, I fully believe that my friends may have entered some sort of alternate reality last summer. This would explain the strange, quick onset and disappearance of the clouds, and the time that they seem to have been missing on their arrival back to the car. I don't know what that girl was, but I don't think that she was human. I really have no idea what the creature is. Sasquatch was my first thought, but all of my friends described it as being hairless, so that doesn't fit. If anyone can be of any help, please let me know. We need information, and I know that this isn't over. I think I'll be going back very soon.